Yo, yo, yo.
There we go. I can hear you now.
All right. Welcome to the platform, Rap
Hell
Wars.
yeah. Sorry about that.
That's all good. Let the people know who you are and where you're coming from.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Anthony. I'm born and raised from Seattle, Washington.
All right. And is Mark Anthony your real name?
No, Mark Anthony. Anthony's my middle name. It's what I chose to go by in the media. I didn't want my name being out there for everybody to, be able to find me that easily without actually having contact with me. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's my alias, as you can say, I go by, but it is my government first and middle name.
All right. Let's get right into it with these questions. What are the most like pressing issues you are currently fighting for your community?
I would say right now, the support that everybody's been giving in the anti-ICE campaigns, I think, is really important. For me personally, I'm always pushing for social justice for Black people, especially. Um, Social justice for women is always a big thing for me as well. I think women still aren't getting equal rights like they should. Um, but I mean, honestly, overall, it's just the regime, I would put it, that we're under right now. That's the biggest focus for me. Just this war in the Middle East, the constant bombing on Pakistan or Palestine, um, and this new war we're in with Iran is just
It's out of
exactly what I
hand.
would expect from the president that we have.
Yeah, I know that I seen like when I was scrolling through Instagram and all, there was like a post where it said like Iran's gonna send drone strikes over here in California, but I don't know if that was true or not. But that should definitely like for sure spook me and all.
Yeah, it's definitely possible the U.S. could be attacked by any nation capable of hitting us with long range missiles. The thing about the U.S. though is that they have by far the best military in the world. They have air superiority over almost every country, and definitely have naval supremacy over every other country. So you have to get over here in the first place to be able to bomb us. I know Iran, they talk about having long range missile capabilities, but the U.S. has some stuff to knock that down. So honestly, it's possible they might shoot something. I don't think it would make it here. Um, but yeah, it's something that every country needs to worry about their military program because the
Right,
U.S.
right.
is always worried about theirs.
Yeah, most deaf. Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that for sure. And then speaking on the ice like situation with the whole ice, like I feel like they're doing too much and all. Like I've been seeing like these videos where like regular civilians end up getting killed by like an ICE agent. Like just one particular video I seen, like some lady, she tried to stop them from like picking up someone and like deporting them, like with her car and everything, and they ended up shooting her.
Hmm.
Like, what do you like? What do you feel? What's your take on that? Do you feel like it was justified?
Absolutely not. He tried to claim he tried to claim that the woman was about to or attempting to run him over when by the time he shot his gun, she was already driving past him. Her wheel was turned completely in the opposite direction of him. Um, but that's what happens when you put untrained people out there to go and act like they're of a higher authority just because of some title that was given to them without proper training, without even having the right intentions for it. A lot of the people that are hired for this job are quite simply racist and sellouts. Um, I think for the general American population, they don't look at ICE like a positive thing that people should want to be proud of being a part of. I think it's a lot of people that don't have a lot of other options that they can run to, and so they feel like it's a good opportunity for them to make some money that they've never seen before, and they're willing to sell out for it. Um, and that's not just for the typical racist white Americans. That's the Black people that signed up for it too. That's the people that are from any other country that signed up for it as well.
Right.
You're essentially telling people that have lived on this land for however long, whether it be a short time or a long time, that they're not allowed to be here. But the thing about this country is that this country, in particularly, is a stolen country that was founded by illegal immigrants. So if we're going to start kicking people out, let's start kicking out the people that are taking advantage of others here, that are reaping the benefits of things like slavery, like discrimination, um, for literal centuries. So trying to judge on who has a right to be here, who has a legal right to be here. I completely understand that every country has borders and chooses to enforce them, but we also need to understand that America is not your typical country. America is a land that was stolen, and it also is the land of wealth right now in the time that we live in. So there are going to be people who feel like they have as much of a right to be here as anybody else that has a right to be here in their minds. The only people who
Yeah.
truly have a right to be here, if we're really following the rules, are the Native Americans. So you should really be asking them on who should
Right.
be
They were
allowed
here
right here.
first.
Exactly.
Yeah. Trump has his own take on this. He even had his own take on the situation. He said that it was justified and that like he agreed with like the ICE agents and all. So why do you feel like Trump is like taking their side? Is it because he's for like I know he's already for the ICE like immigration and all, but
Mhm.
why do you feel like he's still like pushing it so hard and all? Like even if it comes to like violence and all, he still agrees with like the ICE agents and all.
Yeah, well, I think Trump has already identified himself as a known racist. He's not going to openly come out and say it, but you can see it in his actions. The first colors that Trump sees are definitely green and gold. And after that, he's going to look at, if you're white or not. So he has no problem going out and sending armed patrols to essentially stop and frisk citizens based on the color of their skin, how they look from their ethnic origin, um, and harass them essentially. That's supposed to be illegal here in America, and yet he's being allowed to do it. But then again, he's doing a lot of things that he's not supposed to have power to do as a president. You're not supposed to be able to just go off and assassinate world leaders without
Right.
congressional approval and start wars and stuff like that. And yet here we are. Um, you're also not supposed to be able to try to take over the government when you lose an election, and yet here we are. So that's the world we're living in right now, and as long as Donald Trump is the president of the most powerful nation in the world, it's a threat to anybody who's ever been oppressed. It's a threat to anybody who isn't seen as the generic uh, wealthy white man. Um, a lot of us are in this fight for different reasons. But at the end of the day, having somebody that's actually educated, well versed in political agendas and things like that is important. Somebody like Donald Trump, who doesn't even know what he's talking about half the time he's talking, constantly backtracking on what he's saying, and then
Right.
out carrying out some of the outlandish threats that he actually does make. Um, Another thing, it's illegal according to the United Nations to be able to take over another country just to steal their land. And yet here he is talking about Greenland, and he's the president of Venezuela, and this it's wild. The only reason the US is able to get away with it is because they've essentially got the firepower to hold the rest of the world hostage, and everybody knows it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. He ends up like finding loopholes in the system too. Even like with Venezuela, they're overthrowing their government and all. He was saying because they were bringing in drugs and all to our poisoning our community, like the whole states and all.
Hmm.
So yeah, he definitely tries to find a way. And then the reason why is because I feel like it was because of the oil they got there. So it's like pretty much comes down to a financial gain and how he could make money out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure there was obviously a ploy to try to get rich somehow by attacking a nation that's never threatened us. Um, But again, Donald Trump isn't doing this to just any nation. He seems to like attacking nations with people who are largely brown and black populating the nation. Um, I mean, when have you ever heard of another country just going out and bombing civilian boats without giving people due process of law and trials and things like that? And then,
Right.
going off and kidnapping a leader and putting them on trial here. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, most definitely. It's for sure doing too much. What does your ideal vision of for racial justice look like?
Um, Man, so the word ideal, you have to look at it a couple of different ways. Um, my perfect situation, I know in my mind, it isn't achievable. Probably in my generation, hopefully by the one after. Um, and that would just really be equality. It would be people not having certain privileges based on the way that they're born, who they're born to, the way that they look, their sexual orientation. Instead, it just be based on the character that you have inside, the content of your character. Um, and I know that that's a ways out. Um, but I would say my ideal social justice vision for the America that we've all inherited would be a more involved government that protects the people that are most at risk. So one of the things that Donald Trump did when he first came into office is that he defunded the education system. And so now states that had federal money coming in are now relying on their own money to try to make do and actually educate people. And so Donald Trump doesn't care about education. He probably works actively against it and then tries to use his religion as a way to justify it. Why do you need education if the Bible tells you everything that you need to know? Um, in addition to that, uh, I would say that we need to focus on having government programs that actually and actively um, make sure that the people that are receiving the help are receiving it the way that they should, aren't being discriminated against, and that includes in the workforce. Um, they have this whole thing where they're going at DEI hires and stuff like that, and calling it equal opportunity and this and that. The
Yeah,
equal opportunity in DEI was created because others have always had better opportunities and have always excluded others from taking part in those activities. And those activities include making a living for yourself. So, yeah, people like Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they did try to push these programs to level the playing field. And Donald Trump has made a consistent and targeted effort to do everything he can to keep that playing field as unlevel and as uneven as possible. So, yeah, I really don't think ideal is possible for quite a few years here in America by my vision of ideal. But I
yeah,
do think that with proper education in the youth and actually making a targeted effort to get people at a young age to understand what their rights are guaranteed to them as according to the US Constitution, then it is possible to change the trajectory that Donald Trump is taking this country in.
right. Like instead of like looking after like the high class that he's in, you should like pay more attention to like the lower class, like what their needs is are, like how to help them out and all. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. Make it all equal.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Um, how do you define systematic racism and how does it manifest in our local area?
Yeah, so that ties back into a little bit what I was saying about the workforce. So, systematic racism isn't just somebody that you know who doesn't like you based on the color of your skin. Systematic racism looks like when you go into a job interview and you're more qualified on paper than somebody else. You believe you can do the job better than somebody else and have all the history of proving it. And yet somebody else gets the job over you because of such things as the color of your skin, your sexual orientation, your gender, your religion, your ethnic origin, whatever it is. Um, it also looks like uh, being judged more harsher for crimes that you committed than your white male counterparts.
Right.
Um, it also looks like needing to fear police because of the way that you look. Um, it looks in housing discrimination, which I'm from Seattle. You know, people look at Seattle like it's a melting pot city, and we do have a lot of different diversity here. But Seattle was still hardlining black people from owning houses until like the 1960s. You know, so some people are born to a certain privilege, um, and it resonates throughout the entire social structure that we live in, our government, our communities, because it's so instilled in who America is and who America has been. Um, and so, yeah, it's gonna take some time to change it. It's gonna take some work, but again, I think it just starts with educating people on what their rights are guaranteed to them, and honestly, people getting angry enough about it that they continue to fight back, continue to protest and get out and march, make their voices heard, and continue to fight the good fight.
Yeah, most deaf. If everyone could like come together and all, like as one, we for sure could like make a change. So yeah, most deaf. Um, like what are the biggest misconceptions people have about your activism?
Yeah, the biggest misconceptions I would say, a lot of people associate the chop with violence and negativity. A lot of people think that it was just a bunch of people out there who were trying to enjoy themselves in a park, treating it like it was Woodstock. Um, I've had a lot of people who have come at me and they think that I'm just out here trying to be on TV and, just decided I saw cameras and I was just going to hop in front of a bunch of cameras and start doing this just for the
Just trying to get
supposed
clout.
fame and money of it. Yeah. Um, so, none of those things are true about me. I'm not out here, looking for money. I don't think most people know what my Cash App is unless you're my very close friend. They don't know my Venmo or my PayPal. And this is something that I've wanted to do since I was a child. There's a reason that I studied history at the University of Washington, and it wasn't just so I could be a teacher like a lot of people think. A lot of people tell me I should be a teacher. I think I'm great with kids, but I think teaching children is honestly not what I'm destined to do. I don't look at it like as much of a challenge as what I'm going for. My goal isn't to teach children, they're supposed to listen to you. My goal is to teach adults, and that's a lot more challenging. Um, it's not something that everybody's made for, and I've had to work myself at it. I was a shy kid. A lot of people wouldn't believe that I'm doing what I'm doing now if they'd known me from my childhood. I was shy, I used to stutter. I was very quiet in school at first, and I decided it was something I wanted to focus on and work on so that I could better myself for what I wanted to do later in life. And I put myself in the right competitions and clubs and things that would make me develop my speaking skill. I chose to work in a career in sales and marketing so I could continue to not only make money but still improve myself in the things I wanted to improve in. And about my activism specifically, uh, I am a very nonviolent person, but I do believe in self defense. I'm not a preacher or a pastor like Dr. Martin Luther King. Um, while I do idolize him, again, he's not who I think uh, embodies who I am as a person.
Right.
Um, I don't believe in constantly turning the other cheek. I believe if you're hit, you need to defend yourself and you need to fight back. Um, and you know,
Are you?
I
Would you
think
say you're more like towards like what Malcolm X was doing?
as far as ideology, yeah, I'm actually more towards what Malcolm X is doing, and that's what a lot of people think that Malcolm X is seen as a violent person. He wasn't. Malcolm X was about defending himself. He said, I'm not just going to let you beat on me and attack me with dogs and hose me down for me out here exercising my freedom of speech that every single one of you get to enjoy every day. And, a lot of people, when they see the chop and they think of the chop or the Chaz, they think it was a violent protest. And honestly, we didn't have all that violence until it became a worldwide sensation when it hit the news. When
Okay.
we first went and talked to the police, we didn't chase them out of the precinct. They were actually, protesting. We were protesting against the police, facing off with them for days, days on end. And during the day, when I first went up there, we tried to get the police to take a knee with us. We tried to get them to hold a fist. We tried to get them to just verbally say, we saw the same injustice that you guys did with George Floyd having a knee in his neck for 10 minutes and being killed to death while other officers and bystanders were watching. And they said that they couldn't do it because it was a political statement. There's nothing political about giving people equal rights and equal opportunity as afforded to them by the US Constitution. That's actually quite legal. So the way that the Seattle police chose to respond, it continued to get more and more aggressive. They started to tear gas people. They started grabbing protesters and things like that. And then eventually, one night, it just got so intense that the next morning, the police just abandoned the precinct. People think that we chase them out with torches and pitchforks, and that's not the case. It'd be quite hard to uh, forcefully remove a well armed Seattle Police Department out of their own building. Those
Right.
officers chose to leave on their own. They chose to leave as a surprise. I showed up the next morning after staying out until about 3 or 4 the night before protesting. And I want to say I got there around 9 or 10 o'clock, and the police were gone. And I walked up very surprised. I was asking everybody around me. The police left. Well, where did they go? Are they coming back? Who went with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the police at? What the fuck? Because
Yeah.
the whole world was surprised by that. So that day, we kind of had a little small celebration. You know what I'm saying? Like, we actually claimed this block back for social justice. This 2 block radius, and after that, later that night, me, myself, and a couple other people who were very proactive in the movement. One of them you probably heard of. His name is Raz Simone. We sat down. We talked about the plans for what to do with that space that we had just reclaimed, and we decided that two things: we wanted to hold the space as long as we could, and we wanted to talk about social justice and be inviting to people from different communities, and we also wanted to make sure that the police precinct wasn't burned down like it was in Minneapolis. There's, for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of other buildings next to that precinct. It's in a very residential neighborhood in Capitol Hill, Seattle. And, it would have put a lot of people in danger, not just the police and the police precinct, but the businesses next door, the apartments next door, the apartments across the street. It would have put a lot of people in danger. So our goal was we wanted to protect that precinct. I don't believe in demolishing what we've already built. I believe in repurposing it for a better purpose.
Right.
Um, so a lot of people they're confused on my ideology. My ideology is not that I want a revolution.
Oh yeah.
My ideology is that I want a renaissance. A renaissance just means a renewed interest in something. And I'm asking for the first American renaissance in regards to social justice. Um, and I think it's going to happen. I really do. I think Donald Trump is doing his best to hold it off and instead is just pushing it forward at a faster rate. Um,
Yeah.
but
No, that's
again,
real.
you have to hold the word revolution in the back pocket. I'm not saying I'm against revolutions either. As I mentioned, I studied history. I learned a lot about revolutions, and one of the reasons I decided not to be a teacher and decide to follow my goal to talk about social justice issues is because I don't want to just study history. I don't want to just teach history. I wanted to learn to make history, and so I think Donald Trump, he's definitely running up the treadmill to a faster pace. And, it's just a matter of time. Hopefully, because of the way that America is uniquely set up with its constitution, I will say that this is a constitution that um, you don't need to have a revolution because you have the opportunity to make amendments to the constitution. And so
Okay.
As long as the right legislature is pushed forward, a revolution is not at all necessary. It's not what anybody wants. It would be massive losses on both sides, a lot of death. I know the right wing, they talk about it a lot. They got all these guns that, they think they got big guns down south. But, nobody knows what a U.S. civil war would look like nowadays. And I don't think anybody wants to. So, again, we don't need a revolution. We need a renaissance. And America's a country that's built for it. So, yeah. But again, I'm not completely against violence. I also want people to remember that this country was built on violent protest, and it's called the Boston Tea Party, and what led to the Civil War. So,
Right. No,
or
for sure.
sorry, the
Like
Revolutionary War. The
I
Revolutionary.
hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Like it's like way better to come at it like peaceful or try to find like a more peaceful way to get like your
Mhm.
message out.
Definitely, but people have been doing that for much longer than you and I have been alive, much longer than the 1960s civil rights movement, much longer than the 1900s, and much longer than even back in slavery days. People have been fighting for equal rights for a long time, and eventually people are going to be fed up. It's just a matter of time to see how long it takes for people to reach that boiling point, and what the results of it are going to be.
Right. Do you think once Trump is out of office, like things are gonna change more? Or,
I definitely think things will change more because we're it's going to change in the way that we're not going to be dealing with constant change every day. So we're going to have to see both parties really nail down what they're about. um I think America is going to continue to be the same America, where America's attacked every corner of the world. I think they're going to continue to do it.
yeah,
um but I also think that after Donald Trump leaves, um the Republicans are really going to have trouble finding their identity and their base. For the last 4 to 12 years, you could say that they've been really relying on a very uneducated, bigoted base that just claims that they love Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has disrespected all of his contemporaries that have gone against anything he said, essentially. Um, so I do think that we're going to see a big change in the Republican Party, and I hope we see a big change in the Democratic Party. I believe that the Democrats, we need more forceful leaders, more angry leaders. To be honest with you, yeah, we need to fight harder against redlining. Uh, we need to fight harder against the Republican Party and fight honestly a little bit dirtier because that's the way that they do us. So yeah, I think America is going to continue to be America for many years to come. It's just going to be on whose vision of America that is. Do you see it as America, the land of the free, or do you see it as America, the land of opportunity? And so, those two don't always equal to each other for everybody.
who would you want as like our next president? You could choose.
If I could choose my next president today, it would probably be Jasmine Crockett. Um,
Why is that?
as I just mentioned, I like bold leaders. I like people who are angry, who are good at voicing their opinion. I completely love every time I see Jasmine Crockett on TV. Um,
You
if I
wouldn't want to
could
see.
again, if
You
I
wouldn't
could
want to.
again, I'd have
Hold on.
Barack Obama back up there too.
I feel
Shoot,
that.
I even believe Michelle would make a good run at it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
most that.
let's see who else.
What are your opinions on Kamala
Bernie
Harris?
Sanders, Bernie Sanders as well. Got to give a shout out, Feel the Burn, and
Oh yeah, that was my
Elizabeth Warren
vote
too.
back in the day too.
Mine too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just
What about
those are some of my favorites.
Kamala Harris? Like, do you have any opinion on her? Would you want her to run again?
You said Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Kamala Harris.
Um, I felt like Kamala did a great job, on the limited time that she had and the situation that she was dealing with. Um, But honestly, I didn't know too much about her prior to her running for office. She definitely had my support while she was running, especially against Donald Trump. Um, but I would like to see somebody new that I feel is a little less. Kamala struck me at times as being a bit timid for the stage that she was on, and I'd like to see somebody that's much more passionate about what they're saying, um, and yeah, much more loud about it. Yeah,
No, that's the truth right there. All right, let's get into your life story and all. Where were you born and raised?
yeah. I was born in the Central District, Seattle, Washington. I lived there till I was about 9 or 10 years old. Moved to the South End for a year, and then I moved to Renton for the rest of my childhood. So like fifth or sixth grade to adulthood.
Hmm. All right, and like, how was the environment growing up in Seattle?
Yeah, when I was living in the CD, I actually I loved my old neighborhood. I loved the sense of community that I had. Admittedly, I was in the hood. I was in the ghetto. Um, I definitely saw a lot of stuff that you shouldn't have to see as a child, and unfortunately, some of it came from my household. My father was he was addicted to drugs when I was a child. He was in and out of jail. He was selling drugs. You know what I mean? So I came home days. I had other family doing stuff too. I came home one day. I saw that my great grandmother's door. She lived downstairs from us. Her door had been bashed in. We had like it was kind of like a duplex situation, but it was my great grandmother's house, the whole thing. And yeah, I saw her door had been bashed in, and they committed a raid. I watched my dad get taken away by bounty hunters when I was a kid. Um, I've seen people, and heard gunshots. I've seen people die. Um, uh,
Seems
yeah,
like all traumatic and all. Like you were like all these
yeah.
traumatic experiences, like growing up and all.
I think the life that I experienced as a child, even as a young child, it made me want to make sure that other children didn't, have to go through some of the same things that I did. I understand life's not perfect for everybody, but children are the most vulnerable. Um, and a lot of that is coming out with these Epstein files. So, children, we have to protect children.
Yeah,
And I
most
feel like
definitely.
the government should take a responsibility to make sure that every American child is well taken care of, not just investing $1,000 in, some crypto fund or whatever Donald Trump did, whatever it was. Not just $1,000, but actually building our infrastructure, actually building our education and our health system, and making sure that people aren't struggling on a day-to-day basis, especially when they don't have a means of going out to make money like children do.
No, for real, for real. What did your parents work as?
My dad was a construction worker, and my mom was a claims adjuster for a insurance company.
All right, all right. And did you start going to school in Seattle or?
Yeah, my first two schools I went to, I started going to Zion Preparatory Academy. It was an all-black Christian school. After that, I went to African American Academy, which was a public school with a large,
Oh,
almost exclusively African American population.
oh, okay. No, I haven't really like heard of like those schools. So it would be like a full of just the same race, or was there any other races that were going to that school as well?
For Zion, it was all black, and then for
Oh,
African American Academy, I think when I went there, we had two white kids that lived across the street, and they went to school with us.
so they
Everybody
were
got
like the
along with them. Yeah, they
minority.
was cool. Huh?
So they were like the minority, like pretty much
Uh
in
huh.
that school. Okay.
Yep.
So how was
Definitely.
it like? You like even going to like because a Christian school and all? Like, was it all good?
Um. So I used to get in fights a lot when I was in school. Uh,
Oh,
I was always as I guess other kids saw me as an overachiever. Um, and I used to have a mouth too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to admit it. I had a mouth even back then. If somebody made me angry, so I used to get in a lot of fights in school. Um, One thing that I will say is kind of a funny story. Because of the schools I went to and the neighborhood that I lived in, which was again probably 95 to 97% black, the Central District back in the 90s. Um, I really didn't see a lot of people of other races. So I remember, doing the little pictures and Bible and class
Oh,
at a
so
Bible school. We're drawing. What's that?
you're saying that you were pretty much in the same, like, there wasn't really that much different colors like growing up, so you would see like pretty much your own race, like
Exactly.
for
So I was,
most
I
of
was
it.
gonna say a story. I was drawing pictures in class, and I used to bring them home to show my mom when I was a little kid. And everybody in my pictures was black. You know what I'm saying? Noah's black, Moses was black, Jesus was black. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. So
Yeah,
that was all I knew. I did have one white neighbor. I remember a squirrel came into my house as a kid. My mom told me to go get the friendly white neighbor across the street. He came over and got that squirrel out for us. You know what I'm saying? My
yeah.
very first friend I made as a little kid was a white kid named Randy. So I've never been brought up to look at anybody's skin color and treat them differently. It's just that's what I was exposed to as a kid. I was
Oh, okay.
in a black neighborhood going to all black schools.
So was this like your whole time going to school, like elementary through high school, or
No, that was my younger childhood. So I mainly lived with my mom. As I mentioned, my dad was in and out of jail. My parents were divorced, so I grew up in a single mother household. And after so many years of struggling, we moved to Renton because we couldn't afford to live in Seattle anymore. So the first 2 years I
what's
moved to Renton.
Wimbledon like?
Oh, Renton,
Renton.
Renton. It's a city. It's a suburb of Seattle. It's just south of Seattle.
Oh,
So I moved to Renton. We moved in with my aunt for a couple years. I remember I had to sleep on the couch for like 2 years in my aunt's house, and then my mom she remarried to my stepfather, and me and him never had a good relationship. I was constantly, treated like the stepson that he didn't want around. So
yeah,
you know,
neglected and all.
what's that?
Like you were neglected pretty much by him.
Him and my mom too. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, I didn't have anywhere else I could go. My dad, I remember my stepdad used to tell me, if you don't want to live here, go live with your dad. And my dad was in jail. So, it is what it is. I had to put up with a lot. And again, that's another thing that's driven me to be the man that I am and fight for the things that I fight for. Um, because I don't think children should have to go through those things.
All right, all right. And at any point of like going to school, like did you ever get into like drugs or any of that?
No, I was actually a pretty good kid, honestly. I didn't start drinking until I was about 19. Um, I was in college, you know what I'm saying? I was going to college. I started drinking. I didn't actually smoke weed for the first time until I was 25 years old.
Oh,
By that time, it was already legal here in Washington. They didn't have quite as many dispensaries as we do now, but I remember smoking weed my first time and thinking, how is it that this is illegal, but alcohol isn't? Because alcohol is not gonna, or sorry, marijuana is not gonna have you nowhere near doing the stupid stuff I've seen people do on alcohol.
right, like crashing
You know what
into
I mean?
people,
Yeah, crashing cars, and you know what I'm saying, and getting
getting into
drunk, doing stupid
fights.
stuff, getting in fights, violence. Yeah, the typical symptoms of weed are hungry, happy, sleepy, and if you ain't getting those, you're doing something wrong. So yeah, but other than that, I'm not. I've done a couple party drugs and stuff like that. Like never like hardcore and never needing it. Usually don't have to pay for it. Like it's a big event. Let me go and have a good time. I've tried a
Yeah.
couple things, but
All
never
right,
nothing
right.
hardcore. I would never do no methamphetamines. I would never do no fentanyl. I would never do crack or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage people stay away from drugs. Go find other ways to enjoy your life. They're all bad for you. They all do bodily health damage. They all do mental health damage to you. And look at look at other people that have done them and look at how their lives have turned out as a result of, overuse on drugs. So it's not for everybody, for sure. If that's the lifestyle you want, hey, if you're an adult, make your choice. That lifestyle is not for everybody, and I definitely think that we need a stronger anti-drug campaign as well. Um, I don't like seeing people, able-bodied young American citizens, refusing to work, just wanting to get high in a park all day,
Yeah,
and then expect hardworking people like you and I to go out and pay for the benefits that they receive from the state. No, that's not an excuse, and I believe that the government should, start programs similar to a job corps where if you're struggling and you're homeless and you need opportunity, you have this opportunity, but there are rules that come with it. You have to work, you have to remain clean and sober. You know what I mean? And yeah.
yeah. Especially like with the whole fentanyl, like flooding the streets and all. For
Hmm.
sure play like a part, like making a lot of other people like homeless now on the street, like just making things even worse. Um, well, did you grow up like, or like, what kind of drugs were around? Like, was there like a drug problem growing up in Seattle as a kid?
Yeah, crack was big in my community back in the 90s. um and
Uh,
that's what my dad was selling, probably doing other stuff too. um
yeah,
but that was a big thing. I've lost a few friends already to things like fentanyl and meth, and you know it's people that I talked to about it, as a matter of fact, and told them it's obvious what you're doing and you need to stop. And both of them continue to do it. Actually, three of them I can think of off the top of my head, um, continue to do it, and it's sad to see young lives cut short. Which is why I encourage everybody, know what you're putting in your body is not good for you. It is not designed to keep you alive for a longer period of time. Especially fentanyl, you can use that, once or twice, or be in contact with it, and it can kill you. So imagine, ingesting it or taking it into your lungs or putting it into your blood or however you get it into your system. I don't even want to know. But yeah, it's not good for you.
do you agree with like Trump like shutting down the borders and all to like prevent fentanyl from coming in?
No, I don't believe that Trump shut down the borders to prevent fentanyl from coming in. I believe that Trump shut down the borders to maintain what they see as a superiority in the voting numbers, as far as white Americans versus everybody else. Um, I think that Trump is looking at the long term and America being a country by white people for white people, and particularly by white men for white men. Um, so I think that him shutting down the borders and deporting people was just to try to increase the hold that the Republican Party already has on our government, to, you know, uh, continue to influence voting in other ways other than just gerrymandering and trying to rig elections and claiming election fraud and trying to overthrow governments and hang like Pence. Um, nah, I wouldn't even say it's for the drugs. Honestly, I think it's just to keep America as white as possible.
All right, all right. And was there any gangs, or did you ever get into like the streets or involved with gangs growing up?
I had gangs around, Bloods and Crips, um, other gangs too, lesser known gangs. But me myself, I've always been, I've always had a small circle. I'm not gonna call everybody my friend. I'm not gonna go out my way to try to impress people. I'm gonna do things my way. I live by the beat of my own drum. I'm an Aquarius, and so while I did have gangs around, I knew that I was gonna be going to college when I got older. I knew that I had other goals in my life, and fighting about the color red or blue just seems so small to me when there's bigger battles to be fought. For me, my fight since I was a child has always been that I would know that I would have to work harder. I'd have to be faster, be smarter, just to be considered equal. So I've known from childhood my fight would be for social justice, and I would encourage all gang members to really stop, look, and think about what you're doing. And is it really important to hold that block that you owe nothing on? Or is it more important to fight against the regime that we have in front of us, unite for your people, for what I guess you would probably say are your beliefs, and focus on more important things. Um, a lot of these gangs members, they seem to want to focus on people that don't have the means to defend themselves. They try to catch people off guard. They try to catch people outnumbered. They pick on the ones that ain't about that gang life. You know what I'm saying? They seem to be real quick to pick and choose their battles. Takes a lot more bravery to go and stand up against somebody that you know has you outgunned and outnumbered and out firepowered and whatever it is. Um, I saw more bravery in the protesters standing next to me when we faced off against armed police officers and National Guard in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? I've been across the country. I've seen protesters in Kenosha. I've seen protesters in Washington, D.C. Shout out to both those cities. Um, I've seen people down south in LA and California, uh, and I I say that's true bravery. When you're going out, you're speaking out for what you believe in, for your future, for your children's future, for whatever reason you're up there doing it. You're not hiding behind a mask. You're
Yes.
not just talking shit in a room online. You're actually going out and saying what you're about and doing it regardless of, the risk that you have in front of you. And I promise you, it's definitely a risk. I've seen people killed. I've seen people get hit by objects, by police, by protesters. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a danger anytime you step outside, especially in a racially charged, political, war zone like we're going on today. And mind you, I don't think this war is going to be won with violence. I think this is going to be a war of attrition, and it's going to be won through education.
Yeah, most people gotta look at like the bigger picture of things. And like with gang members and all, like pretty much all small minded. Just thinking about like territory if they how they could control their block pretty much and all. Instead they should be
Hmm.
looking at like what's going on actually in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, most def I hear that. Um so did you end up going to college after high school?
Yeah, I went to the University of Washington. I got my bachelor's degree in history. Um, I actually started going to University of Washington to for computer engineering and computer science. Funny story, I did all the necessary math and science. I did math up to second level calculus. I did university level chemistry, physics, and biology. And I still love math and science to this day. But as soon as they sat me in front of a computer, I said, no, I gotta be in front of people. I can't do this the rest of my life. So I went and talked to my counselor, and she told me that I had been taking so many history courses just for fun because it's always been my favorite subject, that I could actually graduate faster with my history degree than going into the School of Business to get my degree in marketing.
Oh, that's
Um,
fire.
but I could but I could still use my history degree for marketing, and so that's essentially what I've done. A lot of people don't see the correlation between history and marketing. In the political world, we call it propaganda. In the history world, we call it propaganda. In the business world, we call it marketing. Either way, you're trying to influence others' opinions about an entity, whether that entity be a person, a business, a product, whatever it is. You're trying to influence the opinions of others. Um, and then, yeah, it's worked out well for me. I've worked for a lot of big companies. I can't say the company that I work for right now, but in the past, I've worked for Boeing, Google, Nintendo, Apple, Lumen, um, Wyndham, the largest hospitality company in the world.
Yeah, that's
And
fire. Yeah.
yeah, I've had a lot of fun jobs. Shoot, I even used to work at a strip club when I was younger, and I know that's a lot of people's dream job. Not where I was stripping, of course. I was just watching the
A
door, making
security
sure
guard
the
and
ladies
all.
were
Yeah.
safe. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun jobs. I definitely love the career that I chose. I encourage especially children. If you're looking for a fun career path, marketing is a great one to look at. And you can, if you're good at your job, you can go and make engineer money. uh, I've definitely been able to do it in some of my jobs. So, yeah, the opportunity is there. Um,
I'll make sure y'all tap in for that. Spin gems right here. Are you all participated in a protest for George Floyd? Were you in Minneapolis at the time when like the whole when George Floyd got killed?
no, I was here in Seattle, and it was that was what led to the start of the chop in the Chaz zone. Um, Again, we never wanted that to be known as an autonomous zone. That's why we changed the name from Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone to Capitol Hill Organized Protests. We weren't trying to secede from the United States. That sounds like suicide. So yeah, it wasn't. It was meant to be us exercising our right to protest and our freedom of speech.
All right, all right. So like during that whole protest, do you feel like the protests helped in a way where cops stopped like killing civilians?
I think it brought a bit of awareness to it. But the George Floyd protest, the it was a big part of the BLM movement. And it may have been one of the big sparks that started it, but there were other people as well, such as Breonna Taylor, um, that also fueled that movement in the beginning as well. I do think that it brought more awareness to it, but I don't think it was ever going to be a quick fight. The first civil rights movement, you know, the normal estimate is 8 years that it took for that movement, but let's be honest, people were fighting for a much longer time before that. So this civil rights movement, in some people's minds, it ended in 1965. Other people have still been fighting since then. Um, so I don't think it was ever going to be a quick fight. I do think that it's brought more awareness to it. So now we're seeing more body cams on officers. We're seeing officers be held accountable at a quicker rate of time than were before. They're not able to just, lie on paperwork and get away with stuff as easily. But they still do have too much power, unfortunately. I mean, I myself have been beat up by police for helping a woman off the ground during a protest. Um, I
So
had
you were
seven
you
officers. I had seven officers grab me. They forced me to the ground, while five or six of the officers were holding me down. One or two of them kept kneeing me the whole time. I'm sitting there saying I'm not resisting, not being violent, haven't struck anybody, haven't thrown nothing at nobody, and yet I still got assaulted. And
did you try suing?
I didn't try to sue the city because they didn't have any body cams on. It wouldn't have helped. I didn't have any bruises. Unfortunately, the cop that assaulted me, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, bro needed to hit the gym because his punches and kicks weren't hurting. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember going back to the precinct. I did tell them I had bruises from being assaulted by an officer. They refused to have anybody look at me. I didn't have any bruises visible the next day. Um, and yeah, they didn't let us talk to lawyers. They made us sign some paperwork and released us. So yeah, it was an unfortunate circumstance. Um, but that's one officer out of however many in the precinct that were also still willing to hold me down, watch him do it, and say nothing about it. And yeah, it's not just a problem here in SPD. There's people that hold bigoted opinions all across America. And every single career field and every single industry, there are people who hold bigoted opinions. And the police are no different. Those same people that make up other jobs come from the same selecting pool that your baker comes from the same selecting pool that your teachers come from. Some of them are just more willing to do things to get away with stuff.
Yeah.
Even teaching is a very noble profession, but how often do we have to hear about teachers abusing students? Even doctors, being doctors is a very noble profession. How often do we hear about doctors selling prescription drugs and doing other things to people? You know what I'm saying? So, um, again, I want to support anybody who works in any type of public service role like that, but there's good and bad seeds in every industry, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So the police are no different.
Yeah, it all comes down to what you're saying, like weight quality and all. Like,
Hmm.
like even with the
Judge them on the
cops and all.
content of their character.
Yeah, even with the cops and all, like how they beated you too. Like if you would have done this, that was like in reverse and all, and you would have like put hands on the cop, you would have got thrown in jail like instantly.
Yeah.
So
And all
yeah,
I did was help a woman up off the street. Yeah.
yeah, most def. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. All right, at one point you were handing out chocolate every day as a job.
I was handing out chocolate. Yeah, I was. How did you hear about that?
I gotta get my info. What made you want to work for Kinder?
Yeah. The reason I worked for Kinder, it was a marketing job, and I've had a lot of fun jobs. Where a lot of times in marketing and some of the jobs I've done, working as a brand ambassador, that's your job, is just to hand stuff out. That's very similar to the job I do now. And so I've looked for jobs that will pay me good money, without me necessarily needing to do backbreaking labor to do it. And getting paid to show my personality and explain a product, and hopefully give a free sample or some kind of window into more about the product. That's what you do every day in sales and marketing. You're trying to build clientele, um, and people like to buy things from people that they like talking to. So what better way to go out and make some money than hand out free chocolate to people and make everybody's day a little bit better.
Hey, nah, most def. You were interviewed by Lush One on No Jumper last year.
Hmm.
How did you end up being on the No Jumper podcast?
Yeah, it's a funny story. My best friend, his name is he goes by CMAC from Seattle. Um, he hit me up one day. We've been best friends for like 15 years, so he knows all about me and the chop and the chaz, and he's a big fan of No Jumper. So he told me, bro, we got to get you on that podcast. That'd be a huge platform. And he told me about this No Jumper host competition that was coming up. He told me I should try it out, and neither one of us thought I would win the competition, but
Yeah.
the goal was that once they figured out who I was, they'd want to invite me back for an interview. And so, we talked to the right people, and we went down there for the interview. And Marquise came with me. We both ended up auditioning for the host competition. But unfortunately, we didn't understand the format, so we ended up getting pitted against each other in the first round, before anybody knew who either one of us was. Um, so yeah, it was a fun experience. It went exactly like we hoped. They did invite me back for an actual interview. I did that interview with Lush One, I believe 3 months ago, and it's supposed to come out this month. So everybody, look out for that No Jumper interview coming out.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah.
Tap in.
But yeah, shout out to everybody at No Jumper. Shout out to Les Ones. Shout out to Adam 22. My girl Jessica West. She be up there all the time. Young Camel
Oh
Toe.
yeah. Shout out to
Yeah.
Jeff. I just
Hmm.
did an interview with her like a couple days ago.
Yeah, I saw that. No, I love Jess. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
awesome.
she's for sure
Um,
doing her thing.
yeah, she's on there all the time. She about to be famous, famous. But yeah, and she's beautiful too. So I ain't mad saying it. But yeah, it's been awesome. Last time we went down for the interview, we actually got to spend some time with Lush. He invited us back to his crib. We were in a couple music videos with him. Me and Marquise both went back. Sorry, me and C-Mac both went back. Sorry, that's my best friend. Um, but yeah, we had a great time. I got family down in LA. It's always a vibe going to LA. I love it down there. Sun's always out. They got the second best weed in the country behind Seattle. Um, and
First.
man, and then the nightlife don't stop. You know what I'm saying? So what's not to like? Beaches, beautiful women, love it, love LA. Um,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, hopefully we'll have more opportunities to go down there and kick it with those guys as well, and talk some more about the fight, the protest, the social justice movement, whatever you want to call it. And yeah,
Did
yeah.
you still get? Did you start getting like more notice after you were on that platform, like No Jumper?
Um, I did have somebody that spotted me just a few days ago, actually, from the No Jumper interview. The first, because only the first one so far came out, and I was kind of surprised because I was only on camera for maybe a minute and a half or two. But yeah, he walked up to me. He told me he recognized me. Um, I actually have a lot of people that recognize me from my work in the protests and also from some of the jobs that I have.
All
Um,
right.
so I've had some pretty high profile jobs. I was, for example, I was the brand ambassador for Google Pay up here in the state of Washington. So when Google Pay was a brand new thing, it was my job, or when Tap to Pay was a brand new thing, it was my job to go to every store across the state and explain what Tap to Pay was. Um, but yeah, I've known a lot of people for years now. A lot of people have seen my face. I've also been on a few other big podcasts. I think the one I did with Tyler Oliveras got almost 20 million views. So I had people recognize me from that.
Yeah.
Um, I've also got people that have done a couple documentaries. One of them won film, best feature length film at the Seattle Film Festival. It's called Our Block. If anybody wants to watch it, and
So you've
it
been
was
doing
a
your thing, like
yeah.
just getting your name out there and all,
We're supposed
becoming
to
more of
have
like a public figure.
that. Yeah, that's the goal. I've never looked at just trying to be a social media personality, I guess. Um, Again, my goal is to try to fight and make the world a better place for others. So I have ever since childhood looked at possibly starting a career in politics, and I think I'm hoping that some of the work I've done so far, if I ever do choose to go that route, will pay off. But yeah, we'll see where it takes me.
Yep, yep, 100. What advice would you give to like people who want to do the same thing as you and like get in this, like just start being like an activist, start activism yourself, start just whatever, like even become like a public figure. Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is have a plan for yourself, who you are, how you want to present yourself, and who you want to be. Um, you only live once. So make sure whatever you do is something that you enjoy doing, that you see value in it, and that, it's something you actually are passionate about and believe it. Because you can make money a number of different ways in today's economy. There's people that make money doing things that people, didn't even have the option to 50 years ago. So if you're good at something and you're passionate at, you can make money any type of way. Um, I would say for people that want to get specifically into social justice, the first thing is be prepared. You have to know what you're talking about. And then the second thing is just taking that step. Actually putting yourself out there is putting yourself in a vulnerable position for multiple reasons. But that's the only way that you grow and that you learn. So sometimes you just got to take that first step. And sometimes you never know how good you are or how great you are or how destined you were to do this until you give it a try and find out for yourself. So if it's something you believe in and it's something you're passionate about, the biggest step is just go out there and do it. But I would definitely encourage you to be prepared, know what you're talking about. Um, Make sure that the things that you're speaking on are things that you not only believe in yourself and live your life the same way, but also it's things that you're knowledgeable about and have experience in.
Yep, y'all heard it first from Mark Anthony. It was dope having you on the platform.
Yeah,
Just
thank you, bro. I loved it. It was a great interview.
y'all tap in, don't tap out, and we're gonna be back on. Like, I got another interview coming on, I think 2 days from now. So make sure y'all tap in for that one. And we out of here.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. You have a good day.
You already know. Yep, so make sure y'all tap in for that one. Peace out.